Riddle me this. What's 3 hours long, goes by the name of Vengeance, and took 15 months to film? This week's topic of discussion, The Batman. I'm Chad.
And I'm Matt.
We hope you enjoy episode 53 of our podcast. We used to talk about this at work. Matt, it is another week, and I'm gonna tell you this: I am personally exhausted right now.
And why is that?
That movie is 3 fucking hours long.
We about to jump into
No, I'm just tired from life.
Yeah, I understand. But it was also pretty good because, you know, me and you both appeared on another person's podcast, Francis, Happy Fangirl podcast.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, so it's a different take to where, you know, with our podcast, whenever there's silence like that, you know, we have to fill that in and everything. But when we're on somebody else's podcast, it's not my job to do that. So So when we was on that podcast, when there was silence and questions, I was waiting here, just waiting for my turn to talk.
Yeah, I was getting antsy. Like, I hate like those like awkward silences where I was like, well, I gotta talk. So I gotta keep talking.
Right. So then all I had to do was just watch the movie. Well, I tell you that bad. That's kind of what I do now here too. But at least after I watch the movie, I do a little bit more research. But all for that podcast, I just watched the movie and I came in with my hot takes. So I think it went well. So look out for Happy Fangirl podcast for us in the future whenever that episode drops.
I think it should be dropping this upcoming Wednesday.
Okay.
Yeah. But we've got 2 guests this week, and we hope that they don't leave us in awkward silences that I have to edit out. The first one is Kevin. Hello, Kevin.
Hey, how's it going?
And the second one is Jared.
Hello. What's going on?
So, Kevin, who are you?
I'm Kevin.
Good start.
I'm a big nerd. I like all things nerd. So, Batman, Star Wars, Lego, all the stuff. So, I'm also classically trained, as you can see. So,
well, we can see.
Right. Love the shirt, though.
Thank you.
They don't know what we're talking about. Yeah.
Jared, who are you?
My name is Jared. Similar to Kevin, I would classify myself as pretty nerdy. Anything Marvel, most Star Wars fan. But I'm an artist also, mostly like 3D modeling, stuff like that. But I do 2D as well. And most of all, I'm a big time movie buff. So you got the right person if you want to talk about movies and TV shows.
Okay. All right. Well, looking forward to the discussion with both you guys. Kevin, what would you like to talk about?
So I've been playing the Lego Star Wars game the last week, pretty hardcore, 6-7 hours at a time. If I'm not working.
Okay.
Right, I was saying that's a long time.
Right.
That's a long time to be playing.
It is. It's easy to get sucked up into that.
So how is the Lego Star Wars game?
Lego Star Wars is great. I can see why it was delayed. I pre-ordered this thing 2 years ago, so back in 2020, and it's been delayed until it just dropped on April the 2nd. And so yeah, it's been great. I can see why they delayed it. I think they revamped the fighting systems. There's space battles now, so and it's cool. Like when you're in space, you can choose when you want to fly into the planet and then land on the planet and start doing planet stuff. So it's pretty cool.
Okay, so I have a question. As somebody who's never played a Lego game, but I'm on my journey of Star Wars stuff. So Chad got me on it. I'm going through my journey of Star Wars. So I've seen, how do I want to say this? I've seen all the original.
Okay.
3, 4, and 5, correct? Or 4, 5, and 6,
4,
correct?
5, 6.
Yep.
Right. And then I've seen 1, 2, and 3. So now my next one is I got to do the rest from there. So the question I have is, with Lego Star Wars, is it based off the movies or it's like a standalone type of thing, or how does that work for the game?
Yeah, so it's called the Complete Skywalker Saga, and so it's 1 through 9. They had a game that they called the Complete Series, and it was 1 through 6, and so this one they added in the last three, and then yeah, so it's just 1 through 9, the Complete Skywalker Saga.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep, it's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
they're pretty fun. Like, the big thing is like they're really fun to play with a second person. So like either your son or your wife, if either one of them want to get in on it, like they're a lot of fun to play with.
Yeah,
Can
yeah.
you play online?
This one, no, they didn't add multiplayer co-op, so
Okay.
you
Are
can
you
play
playing-
together on the same screen, but you can't play online co-op.
Okay. Okay.
Are you playing with your wife, Kevin?
Yeah, my wife and I play. I have a separate game. I've already beat the storyline game, and to tell you how big this game is, I beat the entire storyline, and it's 35% of the way through. So there is a lot to do, a lot of side missions, a lot of collectibles. So, but yeah, then my wife and I started our own save and are going through a little bit slower and a different order too. I went 1 through 9. I think we started on 4. So.
Man, you could have just been like, we're gonna just stay on this save, because like the fun part is the free play, when like you can play any character in a level and just go to the unaccessible areas. That's when it gets fun.
It is fun. She wanted to play through and see some of the. It's really funny too. That's kind of what makes Lego games, right? Like it's really good for kids. It's really kid friendly. So, but yeah, they really made this one really funny. So she wanted to catch all the funny moments.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
So you and your wife are going on vacation?
Yeah, we're heading to California. We're gonna hit up some national parks. We're in a camper van. So.
All right. Any specific ones that you guys gonna hit up?
Yeah, we're gonna hit up the big ones, Yosemite, and then we're gonna hit up Pinnacles and Sequoia and Kings Canyon. So
nice. When are you guys going to be doing this?
Well, we leave next Thursday, so we're
Wow.
gonna plan after work. Yeah, head out, and then we'll start our journey. And I think we come back the following Sunday, so we're gone for like a week and 2 days.
Okay. All right. Well,
Yeah.
You guys have fun.
Thank you. I actually get to see Doctor Strange in California. So. in San
Oh,
Francisco.
so you'll get to pay
Nice.
$30 for one ticket?
Yeah. Yes, it was.
Yeah.
It was $26 a person.
I'm sure.
joke.
It was.
Those California prices, man.
That
But
means
it's worth it. It's Doctor Strange. So.
I also bought tickets. Let me see how much this costs. Yeah, I spent $23 for 2 tickets.
Nice.
Yeah, that's about right. I think mine were like $12 a piece, but the theater here in Texas is super fancy, so
Yeah,
it's not a big deal.
Nice.
yeah.
Does everybody got it opening day or opening weekend?
Mine is opening day.
Mine's opening weekend. We're seeing it Saturday. And then I went ahead and got a second set of tickets on that Tuesday. So we get back on Sunday. And did you know Tuesdays here in St. Louis are $5? So I actually spent $10 for 2 tickets on Doctor Strange.
That's how it should have been the first time, Kevin. But
Yeah. I got to see it when it comes out pretty quick.
I know. Yeah, so we're in a mad rush to see this in the theater, but it's just like, when is it gonna hit streaming? Like, what are your feelings about streaming these days, Jared?
I like streaming a lot, especially I would say Disney Plus, just because of the Marvel shows. Like I said, I'm a big Marvel fan, so that's my go-to streaming service right now, basically, just because of that. But
Now, are you sure it's not because, like, in the pre-show you mentioned you had children?
yes, I do have
So
2 children.
Could that be why you might pick?
That
Disney
definitely
Plus
is a
as
factor. Definitely a factor. You can't go wrong with Disney when it comes to the kids shows. So
you can. I
for
have
the most part.
I have a 1-year-old, and she does not have any tolerance for any of these classics of our youth.
It's funny you mentioned that, because I tried to show my 5-year-old Aladdin, and he wasn't into it, and I was just like, "How can you not be into Aladdin?"
He's like, why is this in 2D?
Yeah, he doesn't get it. It's like it's a different era. Like, he has no appreciation for Aladdin. It's kind of crazy to me.
Right. And it's like, it makes me feel sad / angry. It's like, where I'm hyping my son up. I'm like, oh man, you gonna love this,
Yes.
and this. And I show it to him, and next thing you know, he's getting up, walking around. I'm like, hey, whoa, come here. You better miss the best part right here. He's like, oh no, it's okay. These leaves. I'm just like, what are you? This This is the best. What do you? And it's like,
It's like a slap in the face.
right.
They don't appreciate it. The classics. They
The
watch
youth,
Coco
yes.
Melon and
Mhm.
these musical
Mhm.
YouTube shows, and
Mhm.
it's just not the same. It's no artistry.
Nope.
I appreciate the
Right.
artistry. You know what I'm saying? So to me, it's just you can't go wrong with those Disney classics. And
But Netflix.
ooh, yeah, Netflix has had a rough week. Quite the rough week.
Elaborate.
Well, first of all, before I get into it, I want to say that Netflix, I think, has probably the best show that I've seen since Breaking Bad, and that is Arcane. It's
I thought you were about to say Stranger Things.
Stranger Things is good. I like Stranger Things, and I'll definitely be watching season 4 here shortly when it comes out. But Arcane it's an animated series, but that's my favorite Netflix show that's ever been created by Netflix. So,
All right,
but
give me a. I haven't. I know I've seen the when I go to Netflix, I've seen it. Give me a quick synopsis of it, so if I need to check it out or not.
Well, first of all, you need to check it out just because I'm recommended it to you, so you should take me at my word. But it's an animated show. It's like loosely based on League of Legends, the game. But you don't need any League of Legends knowledge or anything like that to appreciate the show. Like it's actually, I would even say it's better that you don't know anything about League of Legends because it's like more surprises and twists and whatnot. But the show is it's so good. So I usually, when I recommend people to watch the show, I don't even tell them that it's animated because I feel like that automatically puts you like in a certain mindset of like what to expect, or like it's lower quality than something that's live action. But when I say it's one of the best shows, I don't mean animated shows. I mean shows, period. And it's basically a show about the relationship between these two girls, and like it starts off as kids, and then it sort of shows their relationship develop. But it's sort of like an action adventure show, but it's got politics and drama, and it's just a great show. So I definitely will recommend you to watch that. They just lost 200,000 subscribers, like in the last their last shareholder meeting or whatever, and they're kind of going downhill, it seems. So, and the stock loss was like 50 billion. So
wow,
not doing good right now. But I think
almost a good time to buy in, boys.
I know, right? But the thing is, like, I don't think it's necessarily because of the quality of what they're doing. I think it's just more of like, number one, they have a lot of competition from other streaming services. You got HBO Max, you got Peacock, you got Disney Plus, and a lot of people don't want to. Amazon Prime. Well, that one is sort of different because it's like included with your Amazon Prime account, so it's not like people specifically just getting. Well, I guess
there is an option to just pay for that though.
Yeah, but I think the majority of their big numbers for their streaming is because it's included with your Amazon Prime membership. So
I mean, I feel like that in itself is the argument against Netflix compared to the others, right? Mm-hmm. Because like if you just break them down, you got Apple. Their whole thing is like, we make technology, and also we're doing this streaming thing on the side. Peacock and Paramount Plus, we have been around for 100 years. Like, okay, if this streaming thing doesn't work out, we still have TV and movie theaters,
Yeah.
And Disney, same thing. It's Disney. So it's like, what does Netflix have to fall back on? Like, all they're doing is like raising prices and making subpar content.
And that's the thing that makes it so alarming because, like you said, those other streaming services, they have other things that they can fall back on. If they were to lose 200,000 subscribers, they can, pull resources from the Disney parks or Disney merchandise or Amazon Prime. They'll always have money because of the Amazon. It's Amazon. Whereas Netflix, they don't do anything else other than stream. And they have Amazon Gaming coming, but that's not out yet. But
I mean, also, like, to be fair, they are still sending those DVDs out.
They are.
Really, people still getting DVDs in the mail?
Yep.
Yes.
When we were on that trip a couple of weeks ago, my uncle-in-law, he brought out some DVDs from Netflix. He was like, "You seen Jungle Cruise, Chad?" And I was like, "Yes, I have." I can tell you don't listen to the podcast. It's okay.
Why would he just stream that?
He likes his disc, man.
Well, just to be clear, Netflix is still like the king of streaming. Like they have 221 million subscribers. So
Yeah, and the thing that helps them is like they're in other countries. So it's like
yes.
you don't have like your Peacock and your Paramount Plus in like Japan, but all
Right.
that stuff's on Netflix in Japan.
That's like the biggest thing as far as like being out here in Japan, to where like no VPN, no nothing. I can log into my Netflix, and sure, I'm not gonna get the same things in there. I might, like, a lot of times I get better stuff in Japan or whatever like that,
Right.
to where, and I feel like other streaming service should be like that. Maybe it's like country original where you can't get certain stuff, but you shouldn't just block people from not getting anything from being in the country.
I mean, but that's the thing, though. Like, that's like the copyright, and I don't know if it's specifically copyright, but like the way like the law is written in each country, right? The distribution rights.
Yeah,
That's it.
distribution rights. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, yeah, this is made in America. This is for an American audience. This is gonna go on whatever company has a streaming, that made it, but like that company may not exist in Japan. So where will it go?
But like, right, like, but Disney is everywhere. Disney could have their Disney Plus in Japan and everything.
It is in Japan.
Oh, well, maybe I'm not there yet though.
Yeah, when I was in Japan, I watched a lot of Netflix. Netflix in Japan. The catalog is different, but you find, as long as you don't mind reading subtitles, or if you speak Japanese, but it's a lot of good stuff on Japanese Netflix for sure.
Yeah. So to go back to what you're saying, so what is the biggest reason why they've lost so many subscribers?
I think it's a combination of things. I think it's the competition is so high right now. Just within, like, since the pandemic, HBO Max came out.
Peacock, Paramount
came out.
Plus.
Yeah, Peacock, Paramount Plus,
Discovery Plus.
Apple TV.
Wait, what is Discovery Plus?
Discovery Channel and like a couple of other stations that they own. They're one streaming network.
Yep. And they actually
Okay.
just merged. They just bought
HBO.
Warner Brothers. Yeah, they bought Warner Brothers. So HBO Max and Discovery are going to be combined into one giant streaming service. So that's going to be even more competition for Netflix.
Wow. Okay.
So since they have been losing all of these subscribers, they've been talking about cracking down on people who share passwords. And no, they haven't said how they're going to do this, but they're saying that they've been very vague, but they've basically been saying if you share passwords, they want to charge you extra because you share passwords.
They've been testing some stuff out in other countries.
Yeah.
So what essentially happened is, like, let's say Kevin and I are sharing a Netflix account, and I'm watching some content, and he'll try and log in from his house and then say, "Hey, you're logged in here. What's going on here, bro?" And so you want to upgrade that account, or you want to just close this app? What you want to do?
Right. But the thing is, the reason it confuses me is because they already offer a service where you can have multiple devices, right?
Right, but that would be
And,
on the same IP address, though.
It would be, but I was about to say, for example, my wife is out of town right now.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it's both of our Netflix accounts, she's in another state.
Mm-hmm.
So if she wanted to log in and watch Netflix, it's still legitimate. It's not password sharing, but
Technically,
under that
it's
principle,
password sharing, though.
It's really not, because it's both of our account. We both paid for it. It's the same household. It's not like we don't live together. We do live together. So if she were upstairs and I were downstairs, we were both watching different things on Netflix, that would be okay. But since she's out of state, that shouldn't restrict mine or her access to our Netflix account because we pay for it. So that's where I'm confused about how exactly they're going to implement this, because you're going to end up hurting legitimate customers in situations like I'm in right now. So
I understand what they're saying, but it's kind of like you have to look at the whole thing. So we'll take, for example, when the pandemic hit, everybody was on the Tiger King, right?
Sure.
So now, if we'll say nope, if no password sharing was going on, right? I don't want to say that. Basically, I feel like when you password share, sure, they're losing money on that end. But then if more people are watching it, you get the promotion and everything else like that, to where you have people talking about it, where it's globally wide, where when something happens, it's not just like a select few. If you see what I'm trying to say, where it's like, certain fee. Like if I was like, hey Chad, let me I hear people on social media talking about the Tiger King, what's your password or whatever, so I can watch it, where it's easier for me to do that than to spend my own money to get Netflix, to where then now after I use your password, so now I'm in on the conversation now, so now I'm tweeting about it. So is it like the promotion, does the promotion affect it, where if more people see it, regardless if half the people who actually pay for it, is a promotion worth it for them to do it? If you understand what I'm saying, man, I'm saying it wrong.
That's the reasoning that they gave for why they haven't done anything about password sharing. Like they basically said, like the exposure and the growth
right
at the time was beneficial to them, and like this is like the first time that they didn't see growth, like it was the other way. So now they're kind of freaking out about what's going on, and they're looking for ways to kind of counteract what's going on. And they've even talked about introducing like a cheaper subscription price with ads, which is definitely something that I would not ever do.
Right.
It's like that's the whole point of having Netflix, is so you don't have to watch ads. So
exactly.
We'll
So
see. Man.
let
We'll
me.
see how it plays
do you
out.
have Hulu?
Yes.
Do you have ad Hulu?
No.
I do.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not that bad. It's not bad.
So would you be a person that would downgrade to ad supported Netflix?
Maybe. I mean, like for movies, I'll see one ad before the movie, and then there's no ads during the movie, so it's just like watching the movie. Okay. Now TV is like watching regular TV, as far as like I'll get ads every, I don't know, 10 minutes or so, couple minutes, whatever. Which is rough, but like it doesn't really bother me. I grew up, as a child, I grew up watching.
We all did, but so, Kevin, we're living in 2022. Sure, not but 1922.
I think that goes back to instant gratification. Like,
we can stream this content to our house, Kevin.
But I don't need it. I don't need it instantly gratified. I'm okay watching an ad, and actually, there's some good ads out there that are kind of funny. So, I go to the Super Bowl to watch the ads. Like, I don't go to watch the Super Bowl. So, I don't know. I don't mind the ads. So maybe I would downgrade to Netflix, but it makes me think back to Microsoft though. Microsoft's doing a really good job of, it's not the same thing necessarily, but with Office 365, I can have so many people on my account. I pay for it, and I can have I have a household, so my wife and I can both have Office 365 and both customize it the way we want to. And then I can also have family members up to I want to say 3 family members maybe. So I have my nephew. Yeah, my nephew needs it for school, and my niece did. Now she's taken off, so I gave them my it's included, and so it's perfectly fine. And then once I reach that threshold, I can't give anybody else without them saying, "Oh, you've got your 3. You either need to take one off or you can't do anything." And so I don't see why Netflix couldn't do something like that, where maybe you pay a little more.
How would you feel if if you went to work and you tried to use your 365 and Microsoft popped a message up to you and said, well, since you're not at home, we're going to have to ask you to pay a little more to use it at work, for example?
Well, that's the beauty of they have, now this is where this is where it's not the same. I can log into my Office 365 from work and still get access to my Office 365, but it's through the internet. It's not an app. And so that's where it's a little different.
Well, I know that's what I'm getting at. I'm saying that's what that in theory, to stop password sharing. That's in theory what Netflix would do. Like,
Well,
hey,
right.
you're not at home. We need you to pay a little extra to
Right, which is why I'm
outside
like,
of your house.
why can't they do something like Office where maybe you have to log in from a browser? I don't know. It's weird because like you have the app, and so I feel
mean,
like
but
we
at
live
the
in
end of the
2022.
day, the issue isn't like the fairness to the customer. The issue is they need money.
No, yeah, I get that. I know, I get it. It's a corporation.
Okay.
Matt, what have you been up to this week?
I've been outside. That's what I've been doing. The wife's schedule changed to where she was off on the weekend. The weather has been nice in Japan, so we hit these streets and dining in bracing all of Japan. So Friday had some high-end sushi, very expensive sushi. We sat at the counter. And it came out to around 8,000 yen, which is around $80 American just for one person. But it's a type where you sit there at the counter, excuse me, and the chef, you tell him what he wants, we'll tell him what you want, and he makes it right there in front of you. So I had tuna, salmon, yellowtail, like all different types of stuff, but it's fresh, high-end stuff. So it was very expensive, very good. And then the other day, me and the family went out to the Ginza area, shopping area, and we had some ramen. Are you a ramen person, Chad? Are you a sushi person, I should say, too?
I am a big sushi person. I had a very traumatic sushi experience when we went to Vegas. But as I said on that episode after I got back, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. But as for ramen, I think it's okay. Like the last time I had ramen was in 2019. I was on temporary reassignment for the job that I have, and they sent me to Baltimore. So we got some pretty decent ramen, but it's not my go-to.
Okay. Jerry, what about you? You like sushi and ramen?
I don't eat any seafood at all. Even when I was in Japan, I didn't eat it. I'm just not a fan. But ramen is definitely good. I can't tell you that Japanese ramen is definitely different from anything that I've tasted here in the States. It's just not the same. I don't know what the difference is, but it's a noticeable difference. I'm sure when you've been back to this, you probably wouldn't even want to try it when you came back to the States, right?
No, we tried it because the wife was looking for a Japanese restaurant. So
Yeah.
we tried a lot to where we tried it. And to me, I'm like, oh, this tastes good. And then she's like, nah, this is not real Japanese. I was like, oh, no, you're right. This doesn't taste good.
You got to go with the flow, man.
Right. So, but then she was able to find, before I continue with the story, Kevin, what about you? You like sushi and ramen?
I do. I like both. There's a couple local places that do both really pretty well. I mean, I'm sure it's not authentic, but it's good.
Okay, but yeah, we found one. I
Midtown?
have to get with the
Midtown
yes.
Sushi, yeah, that's my spot.
All right. Let me double check on that too. That name sounds familiar, but
by IKEA.
Yes,
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
that is a
Midtown.
place. So we went there, and the wife was like, "Oh no, wait, this tastes authentic." So when the waiter came over, I was like, "Hold up, this tastes so good. My wife wants to give compliments to the chef." So they brought the woman out or whatever, make sure she was real Japanese. So she came up there, she was like, "Hello," and then my wife started speaking Japanese to her, make she was on par. She started speaking Japanese, and they was going back and forth and everything. But long story short, yeah. So Midtown, authentic Japanese. She was in Nagasaki where we live at too, where basically same thing like her. She married American, came to the States, blah blah blah. But yeah, that's authentic Japanese. Where that's the only place I've seen so far, being in St. Louis, where it's authentic. Usually, you get like we see sometimes where it's been a black chef, it's been like a Korean chef, Chinese, but authentic Japanese is that restaurant right there. So when I was prepping for this show, I was like, you know how like social media caters to your likes or where you're from and stuff. For some reason, Yahoo News does that too. So like I get a lot of Japanese news, random stories and stuff like that. So I thought it was funny, so I thought I'll share it with the group. So a school in Japan in Kanagawa Prefecture received a bill for $27,000 for a water bill after a teacher left the tap running for months on end in hopes of preventing the COVID in the swimming pool.
What?
So basically in the pool, they assume that if we keep running water in there, fresh, the new water in there will disinfect, move out COVID. So they left the water running for months on end. So like when another teacher will see the running water in the pool, they will like turn it off. But then this teacher will turn the water back on. So for months on end, exactly over 1 million gallons of water was wasted in that 2 months, which is enough to fill a school pool 11 times.
Okay.
That's crazy.
Wow.
So basically, authorities want the teacher to pay half of the bill, which is 3.5 million yen, which is basically $28 million.
What on a teacher salary?
Hey man, shouldn't have left that fucking water warning. It's like I told just like I told my son today. Like we have this thing whenever he leaves his room, he always leaves the light on and come on. And I always tell him, if you're not in the room, turn the light off. So then today I was like, look, if you leave this light on, you're gonna pay this electric bill. Then in my mind, I'm like, this dude ain't got no money. So I was like, all right, you ain't got no money anyway. Turn this fucking light off in there. All right. It's just if you ain't got to pay for it, then you just do whatever you want to do.
Correct.
My wife is the absolute worst when it comes to turning lights off.
Who?
My wife. She is terrible.
Wait. Is this something you need me to cut? You supposed to open with that when you know you're about to say some crazy shit.
Now he'll keep it in there.
And he gonna send her the link to this too. Baby, listen to this episode. I was on the podcast. Okay.
No, we discuss this all the time. We talk about this all the time. Well, in her defense, she can't see, like she needs her glasses. And so she'll be looking for something and she'll turn all the lights on and she'll just leave them on. Like even if she's going to sleep, she'll leave every light on. I don't get it. I seriously don't get it. You know what my parents would do to me if I left the lights on?
Yeah.
Right.
Like that's like the number one thing that you don't do is leave the light on. Like it's crazy.
Yeah. So that's an everyday occurrence with my son where like now he got it down pat. So once he comes in here and he'll come sit down, I'll give him that, you guys know that dad look when you look at him and I just stare at him and he know, okay, I fucked up. He goes into his mind like, what did I do? Lights. And he go turn off the lights. So now I ain't got to say nothing, but it's a constant thing. I had to let him know.
Mm.
But speaking of constant things, I didn't let my son know before I whoop his ass. What's up with ambulances, Chad?
That's a very rough transition, but all right.
Right. All right. We can phase out of that. So, Chad, what have you been up to?
So, did you guys know that Michael Bay made a new movie?
Yes.
I did not know that.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's called Ambulance, and it has Jake Gyllenhaal and Yahya Abdul Martin II. He was Candyman, new Candyman,
and new Morpheus.
Yes, he was.
But I don't want to talk about
that.
I don't want to talk about Matrix 4.
Yeah, that's
I'm sorry. I apologize for even bringing it up. I apologize.
So if this movie had come out in like 2017, I would be like, this is okay. This is fine. But like, number one, the movie is over 2 hours long. And most of it is in an ambulance. So it's like on some Speed stuff, right? But if we take our minds back to Speed, they had the good sense to like not have the whole movie on the bus.
Right.
We had some stuff before, we had some stuff after. This movie is 95%, ambulance. And I'm like, this is really, can we not do this anymore? Like, how many different ways can we avoid like a checkpoint, right? And then like, just because of like where we are in society now on like everything that's been happening in the world with like the over police and the militarization and all that stuff, I can't unsee these Michael Bay tropes, right? Where like if it's not if it's not super pro military, it's super pro police. Pretty sure like LAPD consultants came in and helped him with this because like they've got like they're showing like some of the latest and greatest technology of the police force. And I'm like, that stuff is like borderline, like infringing on our constitutional rights. But I know that shit's real. And then it's like technically the bank robbers are the heroes, but the things that the police are doing aren't actually great either. And like he's also showing them in a good light too. And so, long story short, like when we get to the, we're almost done with being in Amland. Sounds like this movie wasn't too bad. I would give it like 3 stars on Letterboxd. Like I wouldn't watch this again just because it's so damn long and the things that I previously mentioned. But I at least tell people, hey, if you want like a dumb action movie or whatever, check it out. But then, like, once they got out of the ambulance and they had to stand off with the police, Michael Bay attempted to make a statement on police brutality. And it was it was rough. Was rough. Michael Bay is not someone that should be making these sorts of statements. And this is, I don't know, it's like he made too many Transformers movies. Like he really should have did like 1, maybe 2, and then just did other things, because it's like this movie does not belong in 2022. Like we as a society, we know better than this. And this is why this movie flopped partially, because it's like, this is not the time for these kinds of movies. Maybe if it would have went straight to Netflix, like the last one, maybe, but this is not something you release in movie theaters right now.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, but I watched the trailer. I know a little bit about the movie, but it just looked, it looked predictable. It looked like I could tell everything that was going to happen. And maybe that's not necessarily Michael Bay's fault. Maybe that's just the trailer's fault. You know what I'm saying? That they showed too much in the trailer, but it looked fairly predictable. Very similar to Speed, like you mentioned. And it just didn't really draw me in. You know, I like both of the leads. I like I like both actors. And I've seen them both do great work, but Michael Bay just he's not really a draw for me anymore. Like I think his best movie is probably maybe The Rock, which is from 97.
Bad Boys.
Something like, ooh.
I'm a Bad Boys 1 over 2 guy myself.
Oh, of course. Bad Boys 1 is the best. Bad Boys 1 is the best one. Yes. That's always going to be in my top 5 is Bad Boys.
But funny you mentioned The Rock. Like 10 minutes into this movie, a character quotes The Rock, and then the character he's talking,
The Rock the movie, or The Rock Dwayne Johnson?
Yes. And then the character that he's talking to was like, oh yeah, that's from The Rock that came out in 19 blah blah blah. And I'm like, Michael Bay, why are you Encyclopedia Browning your own body of work?
Patting himself on the back.
Right. The lecture, no, this is what I'm about. Don't forget what I used to do.
Right. Used to do. But has everybody caught up on Moon Knight?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, okay, Matt and I have been kind of talking about it each week. So before we talk about episode 4, Jared, Kevin, what are your thoughts on episodes 1 through 3, or the series as a whole, rather?
Wait, before you say that, I just want to know, before it came out, what was your knowledge of the Moon Knight character before the TV show?
I knew a little bit about Moon Knight. I knew who he was. I know like the character, like the various characters who've been Moon Knight. But I've never actually read any Moon Knight, but I just know I knew a little bit about him before going into the show.
I read maybe, I don't know, 3 to 4 comics growing up. I've read a lot of comics, and there's like 3 or 4 comics I read on Moon Knight.
All right, yeah, because just reiterate, I knew nothing of this character, never heard of this character, nothing. So, and I like that for this, to where I have no perceive anything, so I'm coming in fresh. And when I say that, but I'm just gonna say, like, so far, I loved it that way too. Everything's fresh for me. I'm learning everything. And still, like, I haven't went back and like Wikipedia this character, because it's just so intriguing to me. Like, oh, split personalities, oh this, oh that. So it's all fresh and new. And we're like, all the other Marvel movies, it's like, even the smallest character, Ant-Man, a little bit about him, the basics, to where, to me,
I see what you did there. Smallest character, Ant-Man. I see you.
You get it. You get it. See, this ain't my first podcast. So it's just like I like it's refreshing where it's something brand new for me. But I'm sorry. So let's go back to what Chad was saying. So what was your guys' thoughts about? Or sorry, Chad. Repeat what you said. I don't want to say what you said wrong.
Leading up to episode 4, what were you guys' thoughts on it? Just quick overall thoughts.
I'll start. Yeah, I think it's great. I think they're doing a really good job presenting the character and the idea of split personality, DID. And so I think, yeah, so far it's been a great show.
I think it's solid. Not the best MCU show on Disney Plus, but it's definitely watchable. I'm enjoying it so far, and I'm definitely excited to see where they take it.
All right, Matt, what'd you think of this? Actually, no, I didn't like this 4th episode. I felt like it felt clunky, like when it first started after the last time on Moon Knight, and Layla was running around in the desert fighting a truck that came out of nowhere, right? And she blew it up, and I was like, cool. And then they did the stuff in the tomb, and I'm like, to what end? What is the point of this, right? And then the last 10 minutes, he wakes up in an insane asylum, and we're like, what's happening here? And I felt like that's where the episode should have started. Like, I'm happy that they were able to give the character Layla some stuff to do, but I don't feel like it progressed anything.
Yeah, this was definitely a heavy Layla episode.
Yeah.
So my question is, are they making Layla into the Scarlet Scarab?
I think so.
Yeah, I mean,
all right. Now I don't know what that is. Can you please explain?
Yeah, so the Scarlet Scarab introduced way back on the Invaders comics. That was like Cap and a couple others, and they were like they were not the Avengers, and they were kind of like the pre-Avengers. And so the Scarlet Scarab was a guy in this comic, and he basically like was defending his home in Egypt as they were coming in and doing some nasty crap. And so it looks like she had that Scarlet Scarab tattoo on her, or was it a ring? I don't remember, but they like highlighted it. So I just think like they could be introducing this new character as they do, right? Like they will gender swap or do some like different things to like introduce these new characters. So
also, if you remember at the beginning of episode 3, when Layla was talking to that forger for the passport, she said that Layla's dad called her his little scarab.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So I think it could be cool to bring that up. And then my thoughts on the shows, like as the episode 4, I think it was good. I think it was like we're about halfway through, right? We got 2 more episodes, not quite halfway, a little over halfway. So we got 2 more episodes. I think there's a couple ways that could go, right? Like, is this all in his head? Or my thought is when he falls in the pool after getting shot twice, he falls in like 6 inches of water. So it's not deep. And then you notice him sinking and the bullet holes aren't there. So my thought is that his soul leaving his body?
Oh, okay.
And so then he's actually in purgatory or maybe hell, because they've been hinting at like this hell dimension, right? But they mentioned the overvoid, which is where the gods reside, right? The other gods reside in the overvoid, which is like heaven. And so then you have, and I forget the Egyptian name for hell, but then you have hell or like purgatory. And so I'm wondering if he's in purgatory, and because of the things he's witnessed, he looked at that pamphlet earlier on with like the therapy and like the stuff that his mind has now painted this purgatory for him to understand. And
right.
All the characters in that are the characters that he's come across before. And then you see Terawat, who is the hippo, the goddess of love and protection. And so I think she's going to be the one that actually brings him back around to like to get him through this whole thing. She's gonna be the one that heals his mind. I think he'll still have the ID, but I think they'll all then be able to work together and not be divisive against each other. That's just my thoughts. So
yeah, that's basically where I'm at. I definitely don't think like the show has all just been in his head and nothing that we've seen has been real. I definitely don't think that's where they're going.
Yeah.
So I think this is definitely like something that his mind has created, basically just reiterating what you just said. So they're not totally pulling the rug out from under us like that. I don't think that would be a good choice. So
yeah,
I think he'll obviously he'll be back somehow. One of the gods will probably revive him, and then they'll go from there. So, but I'm also, the thing that I'm most interested in is when they're going to reveal this third personality, because they've been hinting at it a lot. We even saw a sarcophagus that wasn't opened when he got Steven out, and then they showed a third one that was unopened. So I'm sure they'll probably reveal that third personality here in this next episode, hopefully.
Yeah, and I'm wondering too, like, so we see the hippo god. I'm wondering too, like, because that god is one of the little statues that has been imprisoned. We see that in a couple different we see that in one episode, and then we see that at the ending credits, it shows all the gods that have been encased, and she's one of them. I'm wondering if we're also going to see Amit and Khonshu and some of the other gods in this like purgatory as they've been encased. So it could be interesting.
See, and that's the thing I like about Marvel right now, where they're bringing in lesser known characters, and instead of just recycling the same old popular one.
Are you telling me that you don't want to watch a 3-hour movie about Batman?
Hey man, I'm good on this segue stuff. I got you.
Real quick, I just have to say I love the MCU, and it's super popular now, obviously, but it's just funny to me like how characters like Iron Man and Black Widow and Ant-Man, they're now viewed as popular characters. Like before the MCU, nobody really knew who Iron Man was or Black Widow. So it's just crazy now how everything shifted into those characters being popular now. It's kind of wild to me.
All right. Well, since you want to die on this hill, Jared, name 3 Eternals.
3 Eternals?
Uh-huh.
Paperboy.
There you go. No, I don't mean that, but like I do agree with you, but like it hasn't been all hits.
No, I'm not saying that. Eternals was definitely not great. Definitely I would put it towards the bottom, if not the bottom. No, I would put Iron Man 2 maybe at the bottom. But it's definitely bottom, that too. It's definitely bottom 3.
Incredible Hulk.
The Edward Norton.
Yeah.
We don't want to talk about Black Widow.
Black Widow was good. Black Widow was good.
Black Widow was fine.
It wouldn't be at the bottom.
It just came out at the wrong time.
100%, I agree with you. It's when you make a movie, when you already know the outcome, it takes you out of it. Where, like, I know it paved the way for
Yelena.
Yeah, Elena and Arrow. Not Arrow. Hawkeye. Sorry, Hawkeye. Okay, my archers are getting mixed up. Yeah. So, but yeah, it paved the way for that. But if they would have put that before she died, it would have been
Endgame.
Yeah.
Before Endgame, it would have been better. But it's kind of like you're watching something where honestly, it does not matter. 90% of this does not matter because she dies, but then also you get to see the other character where now she's going to live on. So yeah, I agree. If it would have been in a different time, it would have been a lot better.
But okay, you're also playing with the hand you're dealt with. So like that story should not have been, let's follow Black Widow around. It should have been, let's build up Yelena, and Black Widow is in a mentor role. It should have been Spider-Man Homecoming.
I would agree with that. True. I don't think the story was that great, to be honest. But I don't think the story was that great, but I don't think the movie is bottom 3 MCU or bottom 5 MCU.
Well, that's if I'm gonna be the black sheep in this conversation, let's see where I end up on this week's discussion of the Batman.
The killer left this for the Batman. Why is he writing to you? You came. I've been trying to reach you.
Just here to unmask the truth about this cesspool we call a city. You're part of this too.
Hands up! Stay still!
How am I part of this? Oh, you're really not as smart as I thought you were. Bruce Wayne. All these years, you lied to me, Alfred. We all have our scars, Bruce.
You're still away.
He's involved in this?
No, he's not involved.
How do you know? He's a vigilante!
Who are you under there? What are you hiding?
Selena, don't throw your life away.
Don't worry, honey. I got 9 of them.
The Batman has been fighting crime in Gotham for 2 years now, with not so great results. As we learned in the Nolan franchise, the presence of Batman creates escalation, and we see that in the form of the Riddler killing high-ranking Gotham City officials. Batman must move quickly to solve this crime, but the more he digs, the harder it gets to accept what he uncovers. Kevin, what did you think of The Batman?
I thought it was a good movie. I actually did not mind it being 3 hours. After coming off of Endgame and it being 3 hours, I just feel like if it's a good enough movie, it can make it feel like less than 3 hours. So I liked it. I think we're speaking of, if we're going to go DC versus Marvel, I think DC needs to find their own voice. And so I think being darker, a lot of their characters are darker, Batman and just a bunch of these. I think they need to find that voice, and I think that voice is like the darkness of Batman. So I like that. Overall, I thought it was a good movie.
Wait. What do you mean they need to find their voice? Are you saying that all their movies need to have a similar tone?
No, I just, in that, like, Marvel has its kind of feel to it. So it's fun. I mean, that can be like funny. It can be, it kind of like, when I see a Marvel movie, it feels like not the same, but just, it feels like it's one cohesive being. DC does not feel that way. Any of the DC movies, like, it just feels like you just randomly selected a director and then randomly threw together a script and then said, okay, here we go. And it's just, there's no cohesion. So I think if you built, like, Iron Man built the franchise, kind of the voice that was the voice of that franchise, and then it built on that, and then you can have other stuff like funny and serious and all these other things. I think if you built the franchise off of a character like the Batman, who is well known and very popular, I think you could then start to set the tone for the DCEU if they want to do that, and then go from there with Green Lantern and some of these other movies that they haven't really done well.
I like this movie. I did. I like the. So the only thing I knew about this movie was it's 3 hours long. And honestly, I wish I didn't know that. This weighed on me heavily for this last 2 days. I explained how me and the wife was out this weekend, and I was telling her she wanted to do more stuff, but I'm like, I got to get home. I got to watch this 3 hour movie for the podcast. So, and then blah, blah, blah. So she wanted to go out and do more stuff and X, Y, Z. But I'm like, I got to get home and watch this 3 hour movie. I wish I didn't know it was 3 hours, because I think that tainted my view going in it, to where I think that, because if I would have watched it without doing that, I would have realized, this movie's kind of longer than normal, but it wasn't like, all right, let's get this show going type of thing. There's a point where you get in there and when you realize, all right, we've been in here for a while. I was skeptic about this movie because, how many Batmans will we have? And now, this is the Twilight guy and everything else like that. But I like the interpretation of the Batman to where Christian Bale was the fighter type or whatever, where you get for this more the detective type, where he has to find clues, figure things out, stuff like that. And also like to where he didn't have all of the gadgets and everything
fully.
Right. He didn't have the full gadget array or whatever. For the majority of the movie, it was just a guy beating up people. And then you didn't get the gadgets till later on with the grappling hook and some other stuff. So it felt like the beginning of, like, maybe he's been doing this for 3-4 years. He hasn't figured out all the stuff and everything. I did like this interpretation of the Batman. I don't know if the right word is emo, but I did like this kind of sad Bruce Wayne type of thing of him doing it. But then like I was watching with the wife, and the wife knows about Batman, and then she was like, it's kind of weird that like, you know, his parent died when he was so young. Why is he still angry? Type of thing. To where, you know, you hear see stuff like you know, Spider-Man, for example. Spider-Man, when Uncle Ben died, he had his powers, and then that incident helped him on and everything else. Like usually it's an incident when they're doing it to where his parents died when he was young. He harbored that anger, vengeance all the way up and then done something. But that's just Batman in general. But I'm saying all this stuff to say that I really enjoyed this new Batman.
I absolutely love this movie. I've seen this movie 3 times, once in the theater and then twice at home. I really like this movie. I like this interpretation. I like that we finally got a detective Batman. I like, and like, not so much of like, oh man, I'm gonna analyze a bullet and that's all I'm gonna do. Like, he's really like looking at the clues and trying to figure stuff out. But he's also fallible. He's been doing this 2 years, right? And one of the first things he says in his opening monologue is that I've been doing this this is not a direct quote, but essentially he's been doing this 2 years and crime has gone up. Now, what is the what's the expression? What's a sign of insanity when you keep doing the same thing,
The same thing over and over again. Yeah.
think you're gonna get different results. Right. Yeah. And it's like, I like that he doesn't realize until the end of the movie that he is the fucking problem, right? Where you keep doing this, like you're going out here, you're fighting this crime, but you aren't doing anything because you aren't doing it right. Like, he's so dead set on like, I am vengeance, and it's like the very people that you're trying to save are afraid of you, right? Nobody trusts you. Yes, everybody's gonna think you're fucking crazy, but it's just like, you're going about this the whole wrong way. You're so focused on being Batman that if he just spent like a day as Bruce Wayne truly getting some shit done, this would have been solved as Bruce Wayne, not Batman. Like,
correct.
He would have just saw like, oh wait, where's our money going? What to the renewal project? Yeah. Where's that money going?
Got the renewal fund.
Yeah. Or even like, you saw those pictures of the people leaving the club. Where were those pictures taken? Like, he's not focused on the right things. And I like that about the character. I'm not a fan of the runtime, honestly. The first time I saw it and they called Riddler, I was like, all right, let me grab my coat. This is fun, guys. And then it kept going. I was like, what in the actual hell is happening right now?
100%. Like, once they called the Riddler, he was in there talking to him. I was like, oh, all right. I was like, okay, we're about to end this, because I started sitting up. I was like, I was about to shut off on my laptop, and then next thing you know, it was like next scene. I was like, oh shit, okay, we're not done yet.
But yeah, like on future views, I get it. Like that, I'm gonna just say that that's the 4th act of the movie. That's when he really realizes like, you aren't doing this right. Like, you know, people should not be the very people that you're saving should not be afraid of you. Like, that's a bad look. You know, like, these people are about to die and they're too afraid to take your help, you know. So I get it. Like, I will this is another hill I will die on. That Joker scene at the end should have been cut.
And why you say that?
What does it add to the movie?
Nothing. Adds nothing to the movie. Or maybe instead of adding it to the movie, they should have added to the post credits.
Maybe, but like, that's the thing.
Because to me, it just felt like a Marvel thing where they'd be like, oh, you stay there, be like, oh, Joker is about to be in the next one type of thing, to where, so maybe they should have cut it from the movie and added it at the end to give people hope of something.
But like, okay, but then we're just falling in line with things that we've done previously, because they teased Joker at the end of Batman Begins, and then he was the focal point of the Dark Knight. Like, what is the point of continuously rebooting the same character just to bring back the same characters? What is the point? I get that Joker is the most popular villain, right? I get that. But as an audience member that has seen all these movies, and also they had the foresight to not show us his parents dying for like the millionth time that we've seen it on screen. They should know better than to add the Joker into the movie.
Okay, so before I answer the second part, I enjoyed that part.
What
Like
part?
Spider-Man's about her parents dying. Like your Spider-Man. How many times we got to see fucking Uncle Ben die? We don't.
Right.
We get the basics of it. So I applaud them for not doing that. But just like how we applauded them, maybe they will take it into a version that we like. That that's like you've seen Batman plenty of times, we've seen Joker plenty of times, but we applauded this version of the Batman, the quote unquote the detective. But no, I agree with you 100%. They should not have included that scene. They should have ended it before they did the Joker, may put it on a post scene or something like that and been done. Because with like it's the same thing over and over again. Let me stop right there. Let me bring the expert into this. Jared.
Yeah.
All right, you come in and tell what are your thoughts about this movie, and then I can come back with my retort.
I actually didn't like this movie. I love this movie.
Oh, okay.
I love this movie.
I was like, sir, get off this podcast.
This movie. This movie is fantastic. This is clearly, I think, the best representation of Batman, the character that we've seen. I would go so far as to say it's the best Batman movie. That doesn't mean. Hold on, let me clarify. I think The Dark Knight is a better movie than this, but I think this is a better Batman movie than The Dark Knight.
Or am I gonna have to
If you
correct
understand what I'm
him, or are
saying.
you gonna jump in, Kevin?
I think I agree with him. Actually, I think this may be my favorite Batman movie.
Have either
I'm not saying that this is a better film than The Dark Knight. I'm saying this is a better Batman movie than The Dark
both are
Knight.
down the wrong street. Have either you never
Batman
seen
Begins?
Have either you never seen the Lego Batman movie? It is what Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is to Batman.
Okay, let's not bring Into the Spider-Verse into this because
Honestly,
that movie is a masterclass.
I'm just saying, for what that does for Spider-Man is what that movie does for Batman.
Well, then I let the haters come for me. I've seen the Lego Batman. I didn't like it, but we'll address that on another day. But go ahead.
Yeah, so this movie is awesome. Like I said, I think it's the best Batman movie. And I don't mind this 3 hours. I mean, I knew it was 3 hours, but movie runtimes don't really bother me. I never look them up on purpose. If I see them, I see them, but it doesn't really affect me at all. Because if I'm gonna watch it, I've carved out enough time for me to, watch it in its entirety anyway. So the runtime didn't bother me. I feel like if you need 3 hours to tell the story, then you need 3 hours to tell it. So that doesn't bother me. I thought Robert Pattinson was awesome. I know there were a lot of skeptics for him when he got cast. Even me, I was like, Robert Pattinson? What? That's weird. But I had already seen him in other stuff. So to me, it wasn't that crazy that he was in the movie. And I felt like he could deliver. And I felt like he did.
Right, because I know before Joker, what's the guy's name?
Heath Ledger.
Yeah, people shit on him when he was announced and everything like that. So yeah, I always wait till I actually see it, because you never know where actors gain weight, lose weight, go whatever mode they need to do to get to character. So just because you might have seen them in some Disney stuff before, but then they come out later on with some serious shit. So yeah, I always wait till I find out once I see it.
And this happens to all these actors. Like, I'm not sure how like into it you guys were back in the day, but there were a lot of people not happy with Robert Downey Jr. being Iron Man.
Yeah, he was
A
like
lot.
he was like blacklisted in Hollywood basically at that point.
I mean, no, not because of that. They were like,
oh, you mean as an actor?
yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah. And like honestly, there were a lot of people that wanted Tom Cruise because that was like a big thing. Like people were like, oh yeah, Tom Cruise is going to be Iron Man. Like that's something that Tom Cruise was trying to do at the time.
Yeah, definitely.
That makes sense, but Tom Cruise was. I don't feel that comedic stuff with Tom Cruise.
But okay, but this you're thinking of this as an MCU movie, man. Like you take your mind back to early 2000s when that's not what we got.
Oh, got you. Where it's just you needed a cute action star,
right?
Got you. Okay.
But Tom Cruise embraces his comedic root, his comedic talents a little later, like Tropic Thunder, when he was Les Grossman. So he
yeah, that's right.
He can do that, but that was like later. That was after Iron Man and all of that. So, but yeah, I think like the best thing about this movie is like you mentioned, Chaz, like the best Batman that we see actually being Batman, doing detective work, working with Commissioner Gordon. Like that dynamic between them was like one of the highlights of the movie for me. Seeing him actually in the police station, anytime he's in a scene with other police officers, aside from Commissioner Gordon, you could just, the tension is just so thick.
You feel it.
Yes, you
right.
can feel it. That's right. That's like the thing that this movie does so well is like the atmosphere is just, you feel Gotham. You feel, you can feel just the angst in the air. Like it's tangible. You know what I mean? It's not like The Dark Knight. And again, I love The Dark Knight, but it's not just Chicago. You know what I'm saying? It feels like it's actually Gotham, and I love that about this movie. It feels
like Scotland, damn it.
The Joker scene, I agree with you. I don't think it should have been in a movie. But the thing is, so there is a deleted scene that we have all watched, and it features Batman, and he's sort of not really interrogating the Joker, but he's trying to get like some insight into the Riddler. And the thing is, if you were to have put that scene in the movie and the scene towards the end when he's talking to Riddler, it would make more sense. But the movie is already long, so I feel like that wasn't an option. So if you remove that scene, it gives you less context to the later scene. So I think both scenes just shouldn't have been in a movie. So
right.
That's like my biggest gripe in the movie is that scene, is that end scene with the Joker. I just felt like it was unnecessary. But overall, I thought it was fantastic. It's just the emotion there. There's some great eye acting from Robert Pattinson in this movie. You know what he's thinking. He's not talking, but you know what he's thinking just looking at his eyes. The eye black when he takes the cowl off, that's still there. You can see finally wetting under the mask. All of that is just pure Batman, and it's so good to finally see all of that on screen. And I loved every moment of it. And to touch on what Kevin talked about earlier, as far as DC and like their universe or whatever, I think that's what helped this movie so much, is that Matt Reeves, he didn't have to do anything in terms of connecting this or thinking about a bigger universe. So because this is its own thing. And it definitely helped the movie because you can just, you're not beholden to anything that's come before. You don't have to worry about, Suicide Squad took place in the same universe, so we need to, you don't have to worry about any of that. You go in fresh, you do what you want, you stick to your vision. And that was awesome. And Colin Farrell in this movie, oh my God, just masterful performance. The prosthetic work, the makeup, A+. If I don't see at least nominations
for makeup,
yes, for Colin Farrell,
for makeup
Penguin. Or both. I wouldn't mind seeing a nomination.
I was like, when I was watching it, and then I knew ahead of time that's what it was. I was like, because you hear other people gaining weight for stuff, right?
Right.
I was like, I hope Peter gave all this weight for this. Hopefully, it was some kind of prosthetic. I'm like,
it's just prosthetic.
Right. If he's taking on diabetes for this role, then y'all might as well give him the role. Right? Give him the award. Give him the award. Because I was like, he gained so much more weight. I was like, okay.
Yeah, he looks great. And
had
it's
no
funny.
idea.
Yeah,
I had no idea it was Colin Farrell.
when the trailer came out, so I knew he got cast as Penguin, like long before the trailer came out. And then when the trailer came out, I watched it and I was seeing that Colin Farrell was in the trailer, and I was like, no, he isn't. He's not in the trailer. And then I realized that was him. It's like one shot of Penguin in the rain, and I was like, I did not realize that was Colin Farrell. That's how good the makeup is.
Did you see that picture of him before he went to Scotland to film the movie where he had like that all white hair? Like he was like leaving a coffee shop.
No.
So like that came out and like people were like, oh yeah, he's gonna be the Penguin. And they were like, oh, okay. That's why he's got like the white hair, because like there's a character in the comics called Emperor Penguin.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got like the white hair and he's not like a fat guy. So that's what people thought we were going to get. But then we got that.
Right. And you know what? I haven't seen that picture, but it's possible that it was intentional, because I saw set pictures of Zoe Kravitz's character like at the funeral scene, and she's not in the movie, but she's in the same exact costume that a different character is in. So it could have been intentionally there to misdirect the fans. So
it's the need for filmmakers making realistic Batman movies holding back the franchise as a whole, because of the types of villains and storylines that you are pigeonholed into doing if this is a realistic universe. Because like, how exactly will you do a Clayface if this is a world where this is our world? So we don't have like mud people morphing into people, right? We can't do a poison ivy, because how do you have a woman controlling plants, telepathically controlling plants? How do you do a Mr. Freeze when you don't have people running around with a freeze gun? So like we're in this realistic world now. Like this is our world. How do these villains translate?
You can always do it. It's a movie.
Pitch
you
it
can
to me,
always,
Matt.
For which character?
Jared?
Clayface is my number one villain that I want to see in a Batman movie.
Okay, Jared.
So much potential.
Picture movie. Okay, so now we just had the Batman, right? So they come, hey Jared, I'm gonna come up with a second movie, same actors in the first movie. You can use whoever you need to. Pitch me a movie number 2.
No,
Clayface.
No, I'm saying you pitch it, because you just said easy. We can easily bring in Jared, all these supernatural characters.
Don't shut. No, but I'm gonna tag
team
on Jared.
He said he would like to see Clayface. He didn't say it would be easy to bring him in.
I'm EP, so I'm about to come in and bring Jared in from my team. All right, Jared, go ahead. Let them know what we have planned.
Okay. This movie is super grounded. It's realistic. Batman doesn't do anything that's particularly fantastical in this movie. Clayface is like it doesn't really get any more fantastical than Clayface. But I do think that there is I do think you could pull it off. You just have to do it in a way that is still grounded.
That's you're talking around the answer here.
How do you do it?
Yeah.
I mean, you just do it. You do it.
What?
What I'm saying is it obviously it won't be realistic if you have Clayface in the movie.
Right.
But you can still keep the same tone, the same atmosphere, and all of that just with Clayface. This is partially wishful thinking, because I want to see Clayface.
And I'm saying how.
Let's take it back a little bit. If we're going to the movies, we're suspending disbelief. I mean, we're suspending disbelief, right? I mean, like,
right. There
would be no world. This world would not happen with a Batman. Like, he would survive for one day and then he would get arrested. Like, you're not going to have some kind of caped crusader roaming around more than one day before he's put in jail. So we're already suspending disbelief there a little bit. Sure. So I think you can as far as science goes, there's always new discoveries and there's always like elements that you can discover and things like that. So I think just like I'm always going to continually reference Marvel because I love Marvel. Just like vibranium, right? Like, it's not a real thing, but they said they found it on Earth, right? And so why couldn't they find some particle that bonds to somebody that then creates their clay likeness, right? So again, it's suspending disbelief. So you're not going to be grounded to like a real. I mean, if you want a realistic world, just go out and walk around the street. You have a realistic world.
Then why have people since 1998 been pushing back on a Batman that's like more fantastical? And I'm referencing Batman and Robin.
Sure.
I'm not saying I'm not speaking for the quality of the movie. I'm just saying like that was, you know, the last time we truly got like a comic book Batman movie, like live action Batman movie.
Yeah.
And like
there's a time. Yeah. Oh no, go ahead, Kevin.
Go ahead, Matt. No,
I'm saying because it's one thing to do it exactly like the comic as far as the outfits and everything else like it. It still needs to be it needs to make sense in the makeshift world. So what I'm trying to say is that if we're going off the Batman was quote unquote the Iron Man. So the next one, you can still do a clay face to where it doesn't have to be a comedic or like we go Marvel, a Sandman where it's lesser. You can still do it and it could be a gritty quote unquote Gotham style thing and people will accept it because it's
within the framework of
it's in the Gotham universe. It's in the Gotham universe to where it still could be gritty and still be serious. It don't have to always be just people doing the stuff because all right, correct. You guys know more than I do. I'm not even gonna lie. We got besides all the ones as before: Joker, Penguin, Catwoman, Two-Face.
Mm-hmm.
Who else we got?
Ra's al Ghul, a man.
Ra's al Ghul,
a man.
Okay, Ra's al Ghul.
Mr. Freeze.
Well,
Mr.
no,
Freeze.
okay. Well, stop. What exactly is this list? Because like we did Mr. Freeze when we had like a comic book fun fantastical movie. Like, are you talking about the grounded ones or like what is this list?
Well, I'm saying the list is okay. So when they brought Mr. Freeze and everything for that Batman, was a problem Mr. Freeze? Or was a problem? What was the problem when they brought? Because Mr. Freeze was quote unquote the comic book one. Was it the actor? Was it the story itself? Because I believe like they brought in what the fans wanted, but I'm like maybe it was the actor, maybe it was a storyline, but the concept of itself is what goes with that Batman.
But the tone was not serious like this.
I think you can absolutely have a Mr. Freeze that's grounded. I think it all lies within the rules. Like you have to establish your world's rules and how it works. So like if you have a rule like in this world where a new element like the clay thing happens, then it happens, and it's a rule in the world. It can happen. It's just, I mean, it doesn't have to be this world because this world is why we're going to watch a movie, to get away from it, to like escape. And so you set your foundation and your rules to say, okay, this Mr. Freeze guy, he had something happen to him. He had an accident, and now he's still able to live as this frozen kind of like this Mr. Freeze kind of guy, but still make it gritty and like more realistic looking. It's not going to be real life because it's not real life. It's a movie, but I think you can absolutely establish your rules and then still create a good, more realistic version of Mr. Freeze.
So to circle back to what I was saying, when I was saying to do a clay face, you just do it. If you have the right writers and the right directors, you can pull off pretty much anything. So as long as you are within the framework, like right now, for example, in the Batman, we don't know if there are fantastical elements or not. We assume that they're not because we haven't seen them, but that doesn't mean that they don't exist yet. Like for example, when the MCU started, we didn't know that Doctor Strange and people had magic powers. Like when Iron Man 1 came out, it was just Iron Man. He was a dude in a suit. It was pretty realistic. I mean, it's within the we can imagine somebody with a jetpack boots flying around. So it's not that crazy. But now look at where the MCU is now. It's like magic and Egyptian gods. And so you can expand on it and still keep sort of the same feel. And I think that as long as it's written well, you can pull it off by just doing it. And it's risky, I guess you could say, because this movie is so grounded and a lot of people like it for that reason. But as long as you do it right, you can pull it off.
Absolutely.
And I agree with you. It's what you guys both said. It's the scope of the movie. That when you brought up Mr. Freeze before, that wasn't on a serious type of movie where it's gritty and everything else like that. It was on some lighthearted type of stuff, Batman and everything else like that. But if you continue after quote unquote the Batman, then we already established, okay, it's a gritty type of thing. So if you, like you said, if you developed, hey, this person X, Y, and Z, Clay, blah, 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 and you present it in a gritty way, people won't accept it because people will accept things that are what they expect. So we know what Clay's face is. So if we don't care, he was bit by a turtle or whatever, ooze or whatever, it doesn't matter because we have the concept of what Clayface is. So you just got to present that to us in the same quote unquote gritty way as the Batman is to develop that character. Then that character is going to run. You can't present us with that's like imagine putting Jim Carrey's Riddler in this. It does not work. He's a comedy stuff. This is we serious over here. So as long as they present us in whatever way they think a Clayface or whoever will imagine, then we will adapt. When I say we, the audience will adapt to it.
What do you guys think the Rotten Tomatoes is on this movie?
I like this. I will say 80.
It's in the 80s, if I had to guess. I haven't checked it since.
I would like a number, please.
Oh, I would say 86.
94.
Yes. It is 86. Oh, wow. 463 reviews, 87% audience score with over 10,000 verified ratings.
Wow, that's a lot. Normally movies don't get that many reviews.
I mean, it is the Batman. And also you got to remember this movie's been out a month.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It doesn't seem
that's crazy. This movie's been out a month.
It doesn't
That's
seem
what I'm saying. Right. That's a lot.
The movie's working title was A, The Long Halloween, B, Vengeance, or C, Year 2.
Vengeance.
I think it is Vengeance, yeah.
Yeah, you guys are right. Did you guys get these trivia
Well,
questions?
the other ones would make sense. Halloween, unless you had Scarecrow
This movie
in it, that
was
wouldn't make sense.
most of this movie was adapted from the Batman comic, The Long Halloween.
Yeah, a lot of it is like loosely based on that.
Okay. I was like, if you ain't Scarecrow in it, Halloween don't make sense to me.
But I know it's not that because usually when they do working titles, they sort of disguise it, and The Long Halloween is just a little too obvious.
Trivia dump. Robert Pattinson's audition / screen test took place while he was in rehearsals for shooting Tenet in LA in May of 2019. Patterson had to lie to Christopher Nolan about it. Patterson said, "I have a family emergency." And as soon as I said it, Nolan said, "You're doing the Batman audition, aren't you?" When Patterson was told that he won the role of Batman a day before principal photography of Tenet, he was surprised that Nolan also knew and congratulated him, although Patton hadn't told anybody about it yet. Colin Farrell stated that he went to Starbucks to try out his prosthetics and makeup for the Penguin for the first time. Nobody recognized him despite getting a couple of stares from people. When asked if he had taken anything from the set, Robert Pattinson revealed that he had repeatedly taken socks that his character wears, and Warner Brothers noticed. He said, "I did get a lot of socks from set. I kept getting a talking to from Warner Brothers. They say, it's fine to have a few, but you take them every day. How many socks do you need?" Because if you recall, filming took place over a year.
Yeah.
So he took socks every single day he was at work.
Did he explain why he took those socks?
Because actors just
They're
take
free.
shit. Yeah.
They free. Fuck it, it's free. I'm taking it.
So do you guys have anything to plug before we get out of here?
You can follow me on Instagram at Jared__France, JARED__FRANCE. Yeah, 2 underscores.
Okay. Why don't you shoot that to Matt and I'll put that in the show notes.
All right.
Kevin, do you have anything you'd like to plug?
I am in the works of making a podcast / YouTube show of Star Wars. So me and a buddy are going to be talk showing it So we are right now writing kind of the script, quote unquote, like how we want the show to look and feel. And so hopefully we'll start shooting in the next month or so.
All right, that's cool. All right,
So I can
we
get you
will look
details.
out.
Alright.
We will look out for that.
Exactly. Once I get back on my Star Wars movie. Jerry, you don't promote your Facebook page?
Oh, yes, it is my 2 cents of sense. So
And
like,
once more, you will give Matt
yeah,
that
I will put
information
that, get
for
that
me
in
to
the show
put in the
notes
show
as well.
notes.
Yes. Like I just want to put in my 2 cents like that, but
Okay.
of sense, like that makes sense to me like that. So it's like a play on the 2 cents words.
Yes.
And I expect you to once it's dropped, I expect you to promote that on that page.
For sure. Absolutely.
Thank you guys so much for coming on. It's good to talk, chit chat with you. Both of you guys know your stuff. It was a very riveting conversation. So thank you so much.
Thanks for having
Yeah,
me.
and
Thanks, Chad. Thanks, Matt.
I second that too because yeah, you guys both knew your stuff. This is perfect movie discussion for y'all. Y'all was right on par. Y'all wasn't scared to talk your opinions and everything. Thank you again for being on.
And thank you so much for listening. Please rate, like, and review our podcast on your platform of choice. If you have any feedback, please email us at weusedtotalkpod@gmail.com. Like our Facebook page, We Used to Talk About This at Work, and follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at We Used to Talk Pod. Come back next week when we celebrate mothers with I Am Mother, a Netflix original.
And like always, I don't know if this was a good episode. I don't know if this was a bad episode, but whatever you think about it, talk about it at work. Thank you for listening.